Who was the first president of the United States to be divorced? Easy question, right? Because there was only been two. Donald Trump is one. The first one was Ronald Reagan. First one to enter office divorced. And he ran for the presidency as a divorced man. Faithful Catholics were divided. I mean, really divided whether or not they should vote for Ronald Reagan because his wife Nancy was his second wife. Well, look where we are today. Who cares? Anybody worrying about the marital state of any politician? No. Anybody worried about a politician's position on contraception? Who cares, right? But it was a big moral dilemma for Catholics even as late as the 1980s, early 1980s. So you see what's happening. The reality, friends, is that there's no putting the moral genie back in the bottle on any of these issues. Once it happens, once contraception is approved, once divorce is approved, once abortion is approved, you're not putting it back. It's never coming back. Politics just marches on. So contraception and divorce were just two steps in the long revolution's march to a post-Christian New World Order. That's what we're looking at right now with this whole idea of compromising over abortion at this point. The good guys doing it. And if you want more proof, let's use the example of gay marriage, marriage itself, just marriage, and the definition of marriage. Because I think even young people in this audience will remember when it was the Democrats who were out there insisting that marriage is between one man and one woman. Even Barack Obama thought that was the case.
What I believe is that marriage is between a man and a woman.
Why? What in your religious faith calls you to be against gay marriage?
What I believe in my faith is that a man and a woman, when they get married, are performing something before God, and it's not simply the two persons who are meeting.
Now, isn't that something? Back in the day, not very long ago at all the radicals held that marriage is between one man and one woman.
Marriage is between a man and a woman, and states must respect that. Nobody's violated that law. There's been no challenge to that law. Why do we need a constitutional amendment? Marriage is between a man and a woman.
Yep, they all agreed.
I believe that marriage is not just a bond, but a sacred bond between a man and a woman. It exists between a man and a woman going back into the mists of history as one of the foundational institutions of history and humanity and civilization.
So here's my question for you. What happened to that? I mean, we've gone from that to you can marry your German Shepherd if you want and call it marriage. What happened? So even up until Obergefell in 2015, all the conservatives were absolutely defending marriage as one man and one woman. Remember? That was like a basic staple of the conservatives at Fox News, for example. One, of course, married one, absolutely. So here's another question for you then. When's the last time you heard Sean Hannity or Ann Coulter or Bill O'Reilly, even Laura Ingraham, defend marriage as between one man and one woman? Conservatives are not even allowed to object to gay adoption anymore. They're actually handing kids over. You got conservatives on Fox News who are married and have children, and they are telling us what conservatism means in this country. It's incredible how fast it's gone. And if they condemn abortion at all now, these conservatives, it's most often late-term abortion. And they're even almost moving away from that. They're saying, well, the baby's born and then they're killing it on the table. We're against that. They're almost moving beyond even just late-term abortion to outright infanticide is the thing they're going to take the stand on, against. What's this mean? It means, once again, that the long revolution is advancing. And someone, somewhere, has got to stand up and make sure it doesn't get any further. Because what's the takeaway? The takeaway is that conservative politics is built on shifting sands, friends. And without the rock of an unchanging Christian morality, every moral, political absolute is in flux right now. You see? And this is why the long revolution had to destroy the Catholic Church first. It had to take the moral foundations out so everything is just in flux. Whatever you want it to be, whatever the people want. And all the people are going through public school education where they come out with no Christian morality at all. So Christian morality is just disappearing by the generation to the point now where it's almost gone, to the point now where even conservatives are saying, well, we got to get busy on this abortion thing. We got to be open-minded here. Abortion is just going to be a reality for us now. All right, there's nothing we can do about it. Can you believe what's happening? But in order to get here, the long revolution had to undermine Christian morality first. Had to eliminate the church's political influence by discrediting her moral authority.
Several synod cardinals chose to attend a synod event hosted by Father James Martin at the Jesuit headquarters, promoting homosexual love. Cardinal Stephen Chow, the Bishop of Hong Kong, offered a prayer during the event, which later featured married gay couples giving testimony on behalf of LGBTQ Catholics. This is Chow's prayer.
Yeah, when I read that prayer, it really struck me that you're praying that we may overcome our ignorance and prejudices. But to profess that we need to overcome our ignorance and our prejudices, really, to me, is code for we've got to overcome our Catholic doctrine, our Catholic practice.
Yeah, no, this is a sign of the auto-destruction of the church. As Bob points out, Catholic morality is not a prejudice and it's not a form of ignorance. It's revealed in the scriptures. It's taught by the natural law. It's quite clear. If you read St. Paul, you'll understand why sodomy is wrong. This is an offense against God.
And that's why we need to be really, really careful, friends. We got to be really careful because they're using fear very effectively to cause us to sort of go along with this. We can't go along with this. Someone has to stand and stay back and not let them cajole us and terrify us into the total sellout of the Christian moral reality. Because right now, this long revolution is trying to come up with all sorts of creative ways of forcing all of us to join them, to go along with it. And once we allow these moral and spiritual issues to be defined by politics, there's no going back, friends. You don't get to go back up and start over. Oh, we're going to go back and be pro-life after we get... No. It never works that way. Well, we got to compromise on abortion so we can get in, and then we're going to be super pro-life. No, we're not. It has never, not once, has it been where a politician compromised on a moral issue, went into office, and then became moral again, went back to the good way, with the good guys. It never, ever happens that way. Once you compromise in politics, it's permanent. And once we then, as the folks being carried along in this flood, once we hand them over the power, the politicians, we hand it to them to make these determinations, it is all over for us. It is over for us. The Orwellian future will become our present, our reality, under the terms of a Faustian bargain that in the long term makes us water carriers for the long revolutionaries. That's what we're doing here. That's what we're fighting against. That's the concern here. Not in a few months, not a 4-year election thing. That's not the thing anymore. It's the long-term ramifications of what's happening to our society. It's happening to all of us. Now, I've gone over that a lot over the past few months, and as I say, thank you so much for hearing us out on this and for being willing to have this conversation. But there is good news. There's really good news. If you're still here, if you're still listening to what I'm saying right now, despite the fear you feel inside, which we all feel, the fear in our heart that something terrible is going to happen in a few months, right, to our country. If you're still here, you know what it means? And this is so important. If you're still listening, if you're still having this conversation, it means you still care, which means you've kept the faith, which means you hold your faith as something more important to you than merely saving your skin. Because the whole push right now is in order to save your skin, you got to jump back. You got to pull back from those moral issues, those issues of faith, those issues of God, right? So if you're not willing to do that, this is wonderful, beautiful confirmation that you're in the right place. This is an important confirmation for all of us, in fact. How important is God to us still after all these years of the church missing in action and revolution in the church and in the state, right? How important is God still? Just something for Sunday morning, Or is he still vitally important to our lives every single moment of every single day? What matters more to us right now, saving our souls or saving our bodies? These are the questions we have to ask, friends. And I'm not trying to be judgmental to anyone or suggest that you're not adequately asking them. But in the middle of this maelstrom, this war, this controversy, this confusion, it's easy to lose track of what really matters and what defines us and what we believe. So we got to sit back and we got to ask these questions, which is what we've been doing the last few weeks, right? A few months. These are big questions, but we need to ask them. Why? Because the long revolution can actually be stopped. It's been stopped in the past, and it can be stopped again. It can be derailed. It can be derailed even by the little people. That's you and me. We can derail it. The folks who are willing to suffer in order to be witnesses to Christ. You know what the word martyr actually means? It comes from the Greek martyr, which means witness. It means witness. So the early Christians, what were they doing? They were bearing witness to their faith. They were willing to suffer, even to die, because of what they believed. And the question that we have before us now is, are we ready to do the same? Do we have what it takes? Or have we been so scandalized by the apostasy in the church that we're just basically becoming part of the revolution? It's a terrifying thought. Are we becoming like them? Are we becoming them?